Roy, any words of celebration for Rangers?
For Rangers, no. Listen, it's been obviously a tough year for Celtic, but they'll bounce back next year like all great clubs do.
All right, well, let's head across to Anfield.
Okay, guys, welcome to a Sports Matters special here at the Macau Casino, Cork City. I'm joined by a man that would, easily I'd say know more about Roy Keane than Roy Keane knows about himself. A Roy Keane historian, a man that knows a lot when it comes to sports around Cork as well. And he was recently on Cork's 96 FM with PJ Coogan. And Paddy, it's fair to say you definitely blew PJ's mind, and a lot of people that will listen in. But we have to obviously go straight into it. Roy Keane, a man that we all know so well, an icon in Cork and around the world. You know a lot about Roy Keane, first of all, but tell us about the early memories of Roy Keane for you first, and how you came about doing this beautiful piece. And we're seeing a lot of stuff on YouTube at the moment, back from the very start, which is iconic, first of all. But tell us, your first memories of Roy Keane, first of all, and what gave you that drive then and passion to maybe make people more aware of our local hero Roy Keane.
Yeah, Jerry, it goes back to, I was into track and field or athletics back in the day, and I was over in Murray State University, Kentucky, the deep south. And as I was saying to PJ that time in that interview, that's pre-mobile obviously, so it was all about letters and waiting for them to come, and those letters would come roughly once a month. And my brother was great for putting sports clippings in, the latest stuff that was going on. And what I was following really back in that time, and which was just playing in my mind an awful lot, was the Cork were doing the double, So I'd left in the end of August, and the hurlers did it first, and then the footballers were coming through. So I thought that's what the news clippings would be about, and it was talking about the double, and I was going bananas, missing the celebration, double top, Cork doing it.
Still celebrating that.
Still celebrating that. Unbelievable. Well, we've done it twice, as you know, 80, 90, and 100 years later, and then Teddy Mack obviously becoming the only God be good to him, winning that. So that's what I thought most of the clippings would be about, and it was. And I was reading down through them, and he'd always throw in other little extra bits, and down at the end was a 19-year-old from Mayfield made his debut in Anfield. I was like a 19-year-old from Mayfield debut, mate. There was no talk about it before. It kind of came out of the blue, and from that day on, myself and the brother were constantly, how was that kid getting on? He's still in the team, he's progressing, he's still in the team. And then I came back from America, didn't work out. I stayed there 8 or 9 months, and that was the run-up then to the FA Cup, the first FA Cup that he played in 91. It was a fairy tale story in the sense that, he'd got into the first team on the back of Clough, as we all know now, telling them half an hour before the game. So I followed him like everybody else from Cork, and I had a lot of buddies playing with Wilton, and I joked with PJ about this, that I'm going to try and get Roy onto my channel someday, because he owes my club Wilton a favour. Because back in the early 80s, Pat Bowdren, who would be Mr. Wilton really over there, the grounds are called after Pat Bowdren Park, as you probably know, Jerry. And Pat started bringing kids over to what was known the Portsmouth International Tournament. So it was a showcase really for scouts. A lot of scouts would go to the game, so everybody wanted to go over there. All different types of talent, but Roy went over as a guest at Wilton. Pat Bowdren brought him over. Jesus. So I have a little bit of leverage with Roy there. Hopefully, say, look, we brought you over there. You might come onto the channel for me.
You've done a lot of research, a lot of hard work. The videos you put up, you don't make them in 2 minutes.
Sure,
these
you
videos
know that very well, Jerry.
These videos take hours. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, tell us, where were you always a Roy Keane fan? Even in the States, obviously. It was early days for him then, you know what I mean?
More all sports, Jerry. I've a GA background. I grew up dreaming about Munster football finals. I missed the 83 final, Ty Riley goal. Jimmy Barry is a Wilton man, they've been the same neck of woods as me. And then all the FA Cups, Kenny Dalglish, a Liverpool fan. So I followed all sports, and particularly any Cork guy that was coming through. Kieran O'Regan had gone to Brighton in the 80s. Brian Carey went to Man United. Dennis Irwin Leeds, then United. And then this kid, as I was saying to him, in America, a debut in Anfield. There was ever anything like that I could remember. So I was following it through the 90s, and I distinctly remember him when he was coming back. I think his first car was a black Orion, a year. He was coming back, and we would go to the same haunts, and he was old, and we'd see him around. And then things were changing a little bit for him. He was getting a little bit of hassle. I saw that 1 or 2 times as well. And you know, there was a bit of publicity coming with that, and I think his mom and dad wanted him to stay out of town, but he was a young fella and he felt that he wanted to win. So there was all that side of things, but all the while, in all fairness to him, like, he never lost focus of the game and training and keeping that side of things right. And you know, totally full-blooded, total competitor. But the stories in between, you know, leaving Cork, going to Forest, going to United, it was like incredible stories. I mean, even the trial that shouldn't have happened. Like Noel McCabe was up there to watch Jamie Cullimore from Cove.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and that's well known as well. Like, you know what I mean? It's magic.
There you go. And I mean, Jamie's honest enough to admit like that. You know, he didn't perform that day, and Noel McCabe wasn't expecting to see what he saw up there. And there's every chance Roy Keane shouldn't even have been there because he was a senior player. But he wanted to go because it was Cove, it was another game and all that, and he did what he did up there. And he didn't believe McCabe after the trial because he'd heard it so many times before. You know, Scout was there right today. Yeah, Scout was there. Like, let's see. And then Noel McCabe did make contact. He did go over 2 times. Like, that might be well known. He went in March, or maybe February, end of March, and the club called him back. And then he went back again in April. And it was when he went back in April then that he really kind of progressed up through the Forest ranks. And the genius of Clough to do what he did. And a lot of people, I suppose, don't really understand the depth of cleverness with Clough in regards people who wouldn't be the greatest tactician. Like Clough or Ferguson might be the greatest tactician or a coach. But when it comes to people, these guys are Einsteins.
And we know the Clough stories, like some of the stories today, like even trying to sign players, and he's, you know what I mean, a player walks into a house and he's on the front room chair, and I like your garden and your flowers, and the philosophy is just incredible. They don't make them like they used to.
No, they don't. And like the one thing that maybe people don't understand about Clough and why he was just tailor-fitted for Keane was he had that personal touch, he had that human touch. And he knew people, and he knew how to get the best out of people. And more than talent, like Clough would go for character. And that's the thing that shone through with Keane, with him. He saw that he just never say die attitude. So, and you still see it even when he's doing the commentary with the guy.
Today,
he doesn't understand when people don't run. He doesn't understand when they don't go back to help out. That was there from the very, very early days of Rockmount. And I have a story in regards, one time I ever played with him with Summerstone United. Dave Hannigan, the journalist, played with him as well. He did a lovely article in the Echo about this particular game. And he covered it down to a T because we were all aware of Alan O'Sullivan, who would have been the star of Roy's team back then. Paul McCarthy was well known, Len Downey was well known, but Alan O'Sullivan, who went to Rockmount after on the back of the performances he was doing, we were all in awe of this guy. A Ryan Giggs type of character. Left leg, totally, and dropping the hips and going in and out like a skier, right? And we were all eager to watch them, but eager to keep the scoreline down. It was a cup game. We were Division 1, they were a Premier team. And what caught me that day was a couple of things. Was the organisation. They were really like a professional. That's mad to say that at 13 or 14. And particularly where that came home to roost was at set pieces. They were all running like you'd see a match of the day, and we're back in here, right? And they were 4 or 5-1 up. Paul McCarthy got a thumping there. Remember that day? Alan O'Sullivan was cutting us to pieces. Thank God I was on the other side, on the right winger, right? I didn't see him. But the one abiding memory I have of Keane that day when they were 4 or 5-1 up, he was still onto his teammates and still going, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And that's there, you know, that's there from a young age. You can't coach that, you can't train that, just to like try to keep the performance up at 100% all the time. And I think that's what differentiates him outside of, which is a lot of times underestimated with the guy. He did an incredible first touch and the versatility. So I've had debates with lots of people, and I'll have with anybody about Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard, those times, saying they were just as good or they could do this. And they're the 2 things I throw back. His first touch, his passing, and his versatility. And if you look down through some of the videos that I've done, particularly with Forest, and you look at the short numbers that Keane played every single position. Left wing, right wing, both left and right in midfield, played the number 10, played right back. Centre backs 4 and 5, but effective. Effective. You know, there's a famous goal with Man United and Man City where he's getting on the end of the goal, a 3-2 win, one of probably the biggest first big derby win. He was playing right back that day.
He was, yeah.
You remember that, Jerry?
Yeah, I've seen the highlights.
And you're younger than me, but
yeah,
you understand where I'm
I
coming
just
from.
remember, yeah. And like he, as you say, like it's very rare you ever have Roy Keane put a foot wrong in the game. I don't think, you know what I mean. There's been games like, you know what I mean, where United have been beat, but like you rarely ever see Roy Keane put a foot wrong in the game.
Yeah, he made mistakes in the pitch, but I get your point, and what you're getting at is obviously he was on United teams that lost games.
Yeah.
But he didn't lose his individual battles.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 guys around him would have lost their battles, so hence like games off the top by 6-3 against Southampton.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about that, for whatever reasons. If you at that level you can carry maybe 1 in a day. You can't carry 2 or 3, and those results go away. But I can't ever remember any game professionally looking at where Keane was dominated, embarrassed, taken off. I'm sure it happened, and I don't know.
That's telling you we don't remember. Like it's mad, isn't it? That's telling you how classy he was, how much of a perfectionist he was.
Yeah, well, that's the level of consistency, and I mean anybody that would have followed his career to any degree. It's very rare that you get a player that you're going to be giving them a 9, minimum an 8, guaranteed a 9, and 10s week in, week out.
Yeah.
And that's what differentiated him from other players, and it's kind of not human in ways, because everybody's entitled to an off day. He didn't have them.